Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us at the Microsoft Fabric UK user group. I'm your host, Leon Gordon, and we are back for another exciting session. I'm here with my co-host, Pragati Jain.
Hey, hi Leon, how are you doing?
Fantastic, thank you. How about yourself? So glad to have you back with us after what seems like an eternity.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like glad to be back to get some break from my mom duties, I guess. But yeah, I'm happy to be back actually, and really excited for today's topics. I really have to be there today.
Oh, perfect. We're really excited as well. As always, if everybody that's joined us today can let us know whereabouts in the world you are joining us from, that would be fantastic. We've been talking about the hot topic globally at the moment, which for us in the UK is weather. So if you let us know the weather that you're enjoying at the moment, whether it's cold, raining, or sunny, that would be excellent. Before we go over to the other hot topic that we're going to discuss in today's session, which is going to be Copilot in Power BI insights from the product team, so the Microsoft product team, with Harleen Kaur. Now, Harleen holds a bachelor's and master's degree in computer engineering, and she has actually been with the Power BI team since June 2022, working and owning a variety of features in Power BI Desktop, including Desktop Shell, Copilot in Desktop, and a few more that I'm sure she will tell you about. So, Harleen, thank you very, very much for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you.
Right. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here and talk about, what I do and also walk you guys through what we are doing at Power BI, and especially, all the Copilot experiences that you can enjoy with Power BI.
Excellent. Fantastic. Thank you very much. We'll let you dive straight in.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. Can you see the screens?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So, hi everyone. I am Harleen Kaur, and I'm a product manager in Power BI at Microsoft. And I'm here to walk you through how you can transform your Power BI experience with Copilot. Here, I will give you some overview of how you can boost your productivity with Copilot, some best practices to maximize the performance with Copilot, and we'll also show you some demo. So, with that, let's get started. Okay, I was wondering why my slides are not working, but now I think you guys can see the next slide. So, before we jump on Copilot, I want to emphasize that the Microsoft Cloud runs on trust. Trust has been our fundamental promise we have built into Microsoft Cloud since the very beginning. There are three fundamental promises we make with Microsoft Cloud. First, we do not store your data. Your data is your data. That means it's yours to own and yours to control. It's up to you how you choose and how you want to leverage and monetize your data. Second, your data is not used to train and enrich the foundation AI models work on, and it's not used by others. You don't have to worry about any other organization benefiting from your data. Only your organization benefits from your data and business processes. Third, your data and AI models, and in fact, your entire organizations are protected at every step by most comprehensive enterprise compliance and security controls in the entire industry. So that's Microsoft's commitment to you. And that commitment should give you the confidence to leverage the power of AI to transform your business. And with that, now let me give you some overview of Copilot experiences in Power BI. So Copilot can help you boost your productivity in DAX query view by suggesting DAX queries to you. You can also use Copilot to generate measure descriptions for your measures. You can also speed up report creation process by using Copilot to suggest report content. And you can also use Copilot to generate synonyms for all your items to improve Q&A visuals. And lastly, Copilot can also create targeted narratives by summarizing your report to help you better understand your report. A lot of them are already in Power BI desktop, and few of them are also in web, and few which are not. For example, the DAX query view and the Q&A visuals, they are already planned for web. So in a few months, you will also see them in the web as well. Cool. With that, now let's go deep into these Copilot experiences that I was talking about. But first, let's talk about the Copilot experience for Power BI developers, or the authors that we call them, the ones who are actually creating reports or data models. Yep. First, let's talk about the DAX Query View Copilot. So Copilot capabilities in DAX Query View can help you improve your productivity by using Copilot to generate queries and measures, as I mentioned in the previous slide. You don't have to worry about keeping the generated queries if you don't want to. You can run the generated queries to see the results without the worry of keeping them and adding them to your model. You can easily change your prompt and ask Copilot to update the measures. And if you like the generated queries, you can easily update your model by a single click. And I'll show you all of these capabilities in the next demo. But before that, I want to take a pause and see if there are any questions so far.
No questions currently. The only one really we have is in regards to the event being recorded. So just for general awareness, this is the live streams being recorded as we move forward, and the recording will be available directly after the show on the same link. Thanks, Harleen.
Perfect. Okay. So with that, let's move to the demo and see, how Copilot in DAX Query View actually works. So I'm going to DAX Query View. And here I already have some DAX queries. And let me just run them and see what are the results. So these are the results. And now I'm just going to click on the Copilot Inspire button, and it could give me prompts on what I can do with Copilot. So I just clicked on, generate, give me some suggestions about give me some suggestions about the measures, and then it created those measures with me. I also want to ask Copilot to explain the queries to me. So it's going to generate some explanation, and you can go through and review all the explanation to understand what were those queries about. So I'm just going through and I'm trying to understand those measures. And I now want to keep those queries because those look interesting to me. Now, let me go back to the Copilot, and I'm asking Copilot to create measures in the model. So I'm just asking and typing some prompt, and it will create measures for the model, and then it will give you side by side, and then you can review it. So I'm just trying to review and see if it's what I actually want. And so now I realize that, okay, this is very, very general, but I actually want Copilot to generate measures by ship. So I just updated and customized my prompt, and I'm asking Copilot to generate measures by ship. So it gave me the measures, which I can review. And now I think that I don't want just by ships, but I actually want Copilot to generate measures by goods. So I'm just updating my same prompt and asking Copilot, and it actually generated and gave me measures for goods. So you can review it. And so it actually understood my new requirements. I was happy with the measures that Copilot generated, so I asked Copilot to keep the queries. Now I can ask Copilot to actually add all the measures, or I can also click on, so it's just showing you, all the measures that are added. Or I can also click on update model with changes to make all the changes to add all the changes in your model. So let me just pause here. And now that was all the DAX query view Copilot. Now you can also ask Copilot to generate measure descriptions for all the measures that you have generated and even the measures that you have created. And for that, you go to model view. So I want to model view and select any measure for which you want to create descriptions. And in the properties pane, click on Copilot button. So here it's actually generating measures description for you. You can review it, and if you like it, you can keep it. If otherwise, you can also ask Copilot to try again. So
Sorry
I
to
like that.
interrupt you, Harleen.
Yes.
Can you make your screen bigger? I think audience is not able to see the screen properly. If you can make it a little bigger, it will be great.
Let me try. Is it better?
I think it should be better now. Ben, if you can confirm if that's better for you, then that would be great. Or we can ask Harleen to make it a little more bigger.
Absolutely. And it's generally on the areas with the code. So I think some of the audience would like to see some of the code being displayed.
Yeah.
Okay, so for next time, I'm going to make sure that at least for the demos, it's actually bigger. Will it work?
Yeah, I think that should be good, Harleen.
Okay, so should I start?
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Okay, so looks like I cannot actually zoom in, so it's not. No. If I zoom in, the demo does not work. I actually have to go back to the previous. Yeah.
Understood. I think it's because it's a video being played. So let's continue as is. And if we can infer any further information, we will.
Perfect. Thank you. And so sorry, I should have checked it before, but sorry.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.
All right. So now actually Copilot is working on, So Copilot is working on generating and adding the description, and you can see that it gets added in the description pane. And, so if you want, you can just click on a measure and then it will and ask Copilot to generate the measure description for you. Currently, you cannot select multiple or bulk measures and generate their descriptions, but that's something that we are already working on and will come soon. So, that was the demo. But now, okay, this is the demo that I showed. Yep, this is the other one. Let me just pause it to give you guys some introduction. So, okay. So we have already seen how, the DAX query, this is a DAX query one, right? Yes. This is what I showed you. And so this is the next demo. Now, since we have already seen how Copilot in DAX query and then model view, especially for generating measures work, let's just see how you can also set up Q&A synonyms using Copilot, which can also improve the performance of Copilot output whenever you're using, the Copilot in Power BI experience. So for that, you go to modeling and then select data Q&A setup. And over there, under the synonyms, select synonyms. And you will see the list of all the tables which are there in your data. So just select a table. And Copilot will give you suggestions that you can add to your approved synonyms. So over here, for ships, I liked boat. So let me just add boat. Click on plus and it gets added. So you can simply add, synonyms by just a plus, just one like plus, and then you can also add your own synonym. So it's not necessary that you have to use Copilot, but Copilot is here to basically boost you and help you out if you're struggling with adding some synonyms. So, yep. Now that we have already talked about DAX Query View Copilot, you can also use Copilot to quickly get started with creating some Power BI reports. So, Copilot can suggest you content for your report pages based on your data, and it can also create pages and visuals based on your needs. And we can see that in the next demo. And it's particularly great when you aren't familiar with your data. So let me click on the prompt, and I want to understand what's in my data. So I clicked what's in my data prompt, and it generated a summary for me. I can go through the data. Now I understood what the data is about, and now I'm asking Copilot to suggest some content for me in this report. So I clicked on suggest content for this report. It gave me a list of content ideas that I can go through and just see. And if I like anything, I can click on the create button, and Copilot will actually create the page, a report page based on my selection and that idea. So here it just generated a report page based on what I selected. I can also customize and ask very detailed, requirements from Copilot. So here I'm just typing my requirements in the prompt manually, not taking Copilot to give me some suggestions. I clicked on enter, and then now Copilot is working on identifying the relevant data fields. And yeah, so now Copilot was able to identify the relevant fields and associated with the visuals. And it generated those visuals and just presented me in a beautiful layout. So, okay. Some demo regarding the report creation. So the report looks good, but now I want to ask some specific questions about goods, which again you can do with Copilot. So I am right now typing in prompts, and I'm asking Copilot to basically show me total goods over time, over year. So it's understanding my prompt, and then it will generate a visual based on my prompt. I can review the visual. So I'm trying to understand what are the highs and lows, and I can also add the visual to my report to start creating my report. Now I am more interested to see more details about weight and price. So I'm just typing in another prompt to give me some average price and weight of goods. So Copilot is again trying to understand the data fields and the columns associated with my prompt, and then it gave me a list of all the items and which I liked, and then I just added it on my report. Now I'm just trying to show that, okay, I'm interested in ship categories, and I want to see that visual in a bar chart. So I'm asking Copilot to show me in a bar chart. It created a bar chart for me. And now I actually didn't like the bar chart, and I want to show it in a column chart. So Copilot understood my intention and changed the bar chart into a column chart, which if you like, you can actually click on add to page, and it will be added to your report. So, yep. With that, I'll take another pause and see if you have any questions regarding the Copilot experiences for Power BI developers and all the demos that I showed so far. Okay, looks like there are no questions, so I'll proceed. So,
Harleen, so sorry just to jump in there. So we do have a couple. Pragati, would you like to kick us off with the first one?
Yeah. So the first question came from Shashi Paul. And he's asking how to enable it from service, if you can walk us through. If I am right, this is regarding the DAX query view. Because while you were showing that, I think this question came up. So maybe Shashi, if you can confirm, you're asking around DAX query view, this question. What about, I'm not sure.
Okay, so if it is regarding DAX query view is right now not available on web. It's only available in desktop. So if you have DAX query view in your desktop, just go to DAX query view and you will see a Copilot button in the ribbon. And also there's a Copilot button, right below your DAX queries. So either way you can use it and then, start interacting with the DAX query view. But it's already planned for web, but right now it's only available in desktop.
Thank you, Harleen. I think, Shashi, that answers your question. Leon, would you like to take the next one, please?
Yeah, definitely. So the next one comes in from Monica, and they ask, can we use Copilot to analyze Google Analytics and generate a report with digestible data points?
Do you mean using Copilot? Can you just repeat the question and explain in a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll try to provide some context on how I interpret this question. And Monica, if it's incorrect, please feel free to raise it. So I'm understanding here is, can the end user use Copilot to analyze already ingested data in Power BI, in particular from Google Analytics, and generate a report with easy to digest data points?
Yes, you can. As long as you are able to get the data from any connector and it's created in tables form, you can actually use Copilot to create a report using that data. Or, if you have already created a data based on that, if you have already created a report based on that data, you can also use Copilot experiences on top of it.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you very much for that answer. Pragati, would you like to go forward with the next question?
Yeah, of course. So the next one comes from Christopher, and he's asking, do we have an option to update the already existing visual? If I understand that, is it regarding Copilot you're asking? Like if you can update? Yeah, Christopher, if you can give us more details on that.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah,
I guess whilst he does, we should probably interpret this that it's an already existing report that we have Copilot open in, and can we use it to update any existing visuals within the report, or just create new ones?
So currently you can just create new visuals and basically update the report pages, but you cannot update an existing visual. That's something which is already there in our backlog and the team is working on, bringing it.
And can we get any secret insight, Harleen? When do we expect this to ship?
Well, we are working on it. I can just say that, but cannot give you some timelines on it. Sorry, ziplocked.
I expect that to be the case, but we thought we would try as it's Christmas.
But that was a Christmas miracle. I'm telling you that it's actually coming. The team is working.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, we do have a couple more questions. So one coming in from Ben. Ben, great to see you. Thank you for joining us first and foremost. And secondly, can you say what license you need to use Copilot?
Yes. So you need to have F64 or higher and premium license to use Copilot right now in Power BI.
Excellent.
Thank you very much. We do have a couple more questions. So Pragati, would you like to continue with the next one?
Yeah, I think let's take two more questions. So the next one comes from Amandeep. He's asking, can we show some column attribute in a dashboard without having an actual column in the table using Copilot? And if I'm right, he gave us an example as well. If I have an order list and want to see the average in tabular format, how can we do that, I guess?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about, what you can do and what you cannot do Copilot in the later slides. So I'll keep this question for the later one, if that's okay.
Yeah, we can keep this. Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely. So we're going to our last question then before we continue, which comes in from Anmol, and they ask, what's your view if Copilot can be introduced in Power Query Editor?
Very good question. So I'm a PM from Power BI and not from Power Query team. So I will not say a lot about that, but I can give you some insights that they are working on it, and we as a team are also working on integrating, the new experiences of Power Query within Power BI. So keeping fingers crossed, it might come soon.
Okay.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue then, please. Thank you, Harleen.
Perfect. Okay, so now that we have talked about Power BI, or the Copilot experiences for Power BI developer, let's talk about the Copilot experiences for Power BI consumer, people who actually consume, the reports that the developers have actually created. So with that, the first thing that you can do with with the Copilot in Power BI is that you can ask Copilot questions in natural language about your data in your model. So you can use Copilot to search existing visuals or create new visuals from your model to answer questions. And you can also ask Copilot to create new visuals to add to the reports, which I also showed in previously. This feature is still in public preview, so make sure that you use the toggle button, in the Copilot chat pane if you want to use this feature. So, okay. I also wanted to tell you guys what goes on behind the scenes, basically how Copilot is answering your question, your data questions, if you're, and just to give you some insights behind how we actually operate. So when you ask Copilot a question, it determines whether that question is a data question or a non-data question. Non-data question would be, the previous demos that I showed, like suggesting content for the report creation or creating a report and so on. Data questions would be the data questions which I showed in the last demo, where I was asking very specific question about my model, right? What's the average price for goods over year, or what's the categories of ships sailed to Iceland in last year, and so on. So it determines the type of question. If it's a data question, it checks report for the answer. If it was able to find the answer in the report, it will fetch the answer from the report and summarize the answer and present it to you. If not, then it will check your model for the answer. When it will have high confidence that, okay, it was able to get the answer from the model, it will generate a visual and then present it to you. If the confidence is not high, it will try to ask clarification question from you. And if even it could not generate a visual or get an answer even after the user clarification, then we error out and basically let you know that, hey, we could not render the visual or could not understand the query properly. So that goes behind the scenes. And then also, let's see how Copilot is actually able to answer your questions and what all things it uses and what it doesn't. So Copilot actually make use of conceptual schema from your semantic model, which includes table, column name, or related table, or data types. Then it also use linguistic schema from Q&A, the synonyms that you might have added, and the relationships, chat history in Copilot for the current session, like anything that you might have asked Copilot previously, and also clarifications provided by the user. What Copilot does not make use of are table, column, and measure descriptions from the semantic model, and also code comments in M and X editors. So Yep. Copilot is best at answering questions using existing measures and columns in your semantic model. So make sure your prompts are clear and include the actual measure and column names, which are there in your model. So, for example, you can ask questions like, can you show me sales amount by region, where both sales amount and region are actual columns in your data? Or you can ask questions like, what were the top five selling products in North America last month, where product, region, and data are actual columns in the data, and Copilot will help and use end filtering to produce the visual. You can also ask prompt like, sorry, yeah, you can also ask prompt like, tell me the average price of gasoline per gallon over the last 30 days. Now here, price per gallon is actually a measure that you had created and is stored in your model. And Copilot will take the average and will filter it out by the relative date to produce the visual over here. Copilot is not doing calculations on the fly. Since the measure was already there, it actually used that measure. You can also ask follow-up questions from Copilot. Like Copilot will use the chat history to respond to any follow-up request. For example, if your original question was, show me total orders by each store, and then your follow-up was just for 2020. So Copilot will understand that, okay, you actually meant to see the orders by each store just for 2020 year, and it will give you a visual for that. What are the unsupported question types? As I mentioned previously, Copilot does not answer questions that require on the fly calculations. That is, if there isn't any existing measure for that calculation in the model. It will not answer questions that needs generating of new insights like anomaly detection, forecasting, or key trends. And it will also not answer questions that require data that require data which is not there in your semantic model right now. So there are a few prompts, like for example, if you are asking some comparison and that needs calculations and there isn't any measure, it will not give you it will not give you the answer. So any questions on how Copilot works behind the scene to answer to your data questions?
Yeah, I think we do have a couple of questions that can be relatable. If we start off with the question from Ben, Pragati, would you like to go ahead and pose that one first?
Yep. So Ben has asked, like, what security is available around protecting data in the semantic model? Also, can anyone use Copilot assuming the report is published to a workspace hosted in F64 capacity?
So people who have access to that report, like the people that you have given access to those reports, will be able to use Copilot if it's hosted in F64 workspace. Regarding the security, we do have all the compliances and very strict security measures. And I did talk about the security right at the first slide of my presentation, that your data is actually your data, and we do not store your data or even use it to train our AI models. It's protected by the high standard of security measures that Microsoft is using. So you should be very confident that we are not leaking your data to anyone, and even we are not using your data and your semantic model data to basically train our AI models.
Thank you, Harleen. Leon, would you like to take the next one?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just have the two that we have as the last couple before we continue. So this one comes in from Christopher, asks, which lesson do I need to have Copilot? So I'm going to expand on this slightly if I can on Christopher's behalf. I'm going to elaborate and see if there's potentially any training available.
We do have a lot of documentations on how you can use different features, and a lot of my colleagues are also doing webinars and sessions that you can attend if you like, regarding documentation. Regarding and all these documentations, and there are also recorded videos which my colleagues have produced on how you can use different features. Uh, does that answer your question, or are you looking forward for some specific, you know, learning sessions?
Okay, understood. Let's continue. And Christopher, if that doesn't answer the question, please feel free to raise it via the chat. Pragati, if you'd like to go into our next question before we continue.
Yeah, sure. So this comes from Harry. How can I use historical and current data to accurately forecast for the future?
So as I mentioned, right now we cannot uh, generate forecasting, so it's not supported right now, but we are working on how we can support all these unsupported questions, which currently we do not. So currently you cannot do that.
Thank you. I think we have one more last question, Leon, if we can take that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. As it's a follow on, let's go ahead and bring this one up. So just following on from Ben's initial question, can he hide data in the semantic model?
Hide data, that means are you trying to hide table?
Yes, so it goes back to around protecting data in the semantic model. So again, I'll try and elaborate on this on Ben's behalf. Ben, if I'm incorrect, please let me know. So can we direct Copilot to only see certain data within the semantic model as opposed to the entirety?
No, not as of now. So basically, it actually takes your entire semantic model data to use and, uh, get you date and basically give you answers. I'm actually curious, and maybe we can take it offline. Ben, why do you want to hide some of the data and not allow you Copilot to actually use that?
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. Ben is actually talking about hiding tables and measures. But yeah, it could be a good discussion point, Harleen, as you
Yes.
said. Right?
Yeah.
Why this is required.
Okay, perfect. Let's continue then. Thank you.
So, yeah, here are a few tips on how to structure a good question to basically help you maximize your Copilot output. So, we recommend that you think about what visual you expect will answer your question. And then you should try ordering your items in a way where first start with the preferred sort order that you want your visual or your data to be sorted in, then aggregation on value field by dimension field, followed by the legend, then the filters, and then what type of visual you want Copilot to generate. So, for example, you can use prompts like, what is the top 5 average ticket sales by movie genre released in 2024? Where top 5 is actually the preferred sort order that I want. Average ticket sales by movie genre is the aggregation on value field by dimension field, and then released in 2024. That's the filter types that I want the Copilot to use. So this is our recommendation. This should be the order of items in your prompts. And yeah, with that, now let's talk about a new capability that you can do with Copilot in Power BI, which is you can use Copilot to find and summarize insights about your report. So Copilot can generate both general overview of the report or just the current page. And we'll see that in the next demo on how you can do that. So with that, let's proceed to the demo. So here's a demo for the narrative visual. I'll go to the visualization pane and I am selecting the narrative visual over here. Now this will actually generate a visual or a summary for the current page for you, and which you can do that by clicking on Copilot. So Copilot, it created an entire summary for the entire page. So yep, you can see. You can also customize the output by telling the Copilot just what you are looking for. For example, you can write a prompt for the information that you're looking for. You can also tell Copilot what all visuals to reference, and you can select that. So here I'm just selecting few visuals and then click on update, and Copilot will update the summary based on your prompt and the visuals that you selected. Another thing to keep in mind is that the summary will also include numbers that references the visuals from which that data is coming from. So you can click on that visual and then it will, you can click on that number and it will take you that visual from where the data is coming from. And I'll show you in the next demo. Okay, so here it's slightly different because here it's actually, I'm using Copilot's chat pane to give me insights about, the entire report, the top 3 insights. Yeah. So I have opened my Copilot chat pane and I'm asking Copilot that what are the top 3 insights about this data. And Copilot is working on it, and it gave me a summary and insights about the entire data. And as you see that there are visual numbers referenced to, and if I clicked on it, it actually takes me to that report page and highlights the visual from which the data is coming. You can also copy the summary to email. So here I'm just copying the entire summary and sending it to one of my colleagues. You can also ask questions to Copilot to save time. For example, let's quickly identify dates with highest and lowest trip counts. Copilot gives me a list of dates with highest and lowest trip counts. Now I'm going to this report and I see that, okay, it's more about travel between regions. So I'm asking Copilot what percentage of these trips are from Iceland. And it identifies and tells me that it is less than 5%. And again, all the data and everything has a reference, and it gives you from where that data is actually coming from, which visual that data is actually coming from. Yes. Now let's understand what's going on behind the scenes for the summary. So Copilot in this case is actually making use of only what is visualized in the report. It's also looking at visual types, legends, headers, foots, the entire report metadata, and the chat history in Copilot for the current session. And then it also uses clarifications which are provided by the user. For Copilot to use slicer or filters, the slicer and filter must be invoked or the data must be active on the visual for Copilot to basically summarize and provide you with an answer. So, for example, if the data or the slicer was not invoked and it does not show the current, for example, if you're looking for answers for, summarize this page for Germany and the region, and there's a slicer called region, but it's not selected as Germany, it will not give you the answer. So you need to invoke the slicer and the filter for the data that you are looking for. It does not make use of the semantic model. The summary does not make use of semantic model. It is actually the data Q&A, the data questions that I was talking previously. It does not make use of table, column, or measure descriptions from the semantic model. And it also does not make use of code comments in M and DEX editor. There are also few things to remember, or there are also like few, data limits. LLM scans all the visual on the report and runs it through a visual ranker, which selects up to 75 visuals and orders them in with the importance according to the user input. It will only leverage visuals which are under the specific visual data limit. Otherwise, it will get omitted. For example, visuals with 500 columns and 30,000 rows are only considered if it's more than this, then the visual gets omitted and it's not used to generate the summary. So here are a few examples of what prompts are supported today. So prompts like, summarize bike in sale are supported, but make sure that bike sales and region are already columns in the data. And the data on the report is showing Germany, as I mentioned previously. If the region, for example, if there is a slicer and Germany is not applied, then it will not be used to give you the summary. So the slicer must be applied and must be selected to Germany. Unsupported questions today, they include where you are asking questions for comparison, for trends and anomaly detection, or for casting capabilities. So these, as I mentioned, these are, the team is already working on supporting these scenarios and they will be coming out soon. Yes, with that, let me just take this one and then I'll take a pause and we can go with questions. So, what are the best practices to better utilize Copilot capabilities, especially for summaries? For summaries, make sure that your visual are clean. That is, it has good naming convention, has clear legends, and so on. You do not need to have a visual on the page to get a summary. Copilot does take into account hidden visuals and hidden pages. If you don't want to make something apparent on the page, you can hide it and still get included in the eligible responses. Ensure that all the visuals that you want to summarize have the data limit that I talked about previously. And you can also provide tips to your end customer where you can tell them how they can start their data exploration by using the narrative visual and give them some examples of custom prompts in that visual narratives. With that, I'll take a pause and see if there are any questions so far for summaries.
There are indeed. We seems to be a very popular topic, Copilot, which is great. So let's jump back in first and foremost with a question coming in from Ben. So Ben asks, what happens to the Copilot generated summary in the narrative if I then select a data point elsewhere on the page? When is the narrative updated?
You need to go to Copilot and make sure that all the updates that you are doing are there in the prompt and click on update for the narrative for that particular narrative visual to get updated. And similarly, if you want to if you are in the Copilot chat pane and if you want to have some updated summary, you again have to write a new prompt and then ask Copilot to generate an updated summary for that. But if you click on other areas in the report, it will not get updated.
Excellent. Thank you very much for confirming. Pragati, would you like to ask the next question?
Sure. So the next one comes from Amandeep, and he's asking if we put the prompt for train and test ML model, instead of directly asking what I want, will it analyze it and give me the predictions based on that? Or will it support some kind of machine learning?
So as I mentioned, we are not supporting any kind of forecasting or predictions. Currently, it's something that we are already working on.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Harleen.
Thank you. That's all the questions for now.
Yeah.
Perfect. With that, these are few last slides. So I actually wanted to share what are the best practices that we recommend you should follow for optimizing the Copilot performance so that the Copilot can actually give you really, the correct and the answers that you're looking for. So for that, ensure first the tables have relationships. Make sure to remove or hide unnecessary columns and tables and fields. Remove unnecessary measures, have distinct field column table name, do not use same names, so have distinct names, ensure data has correct data types, and make sure to add good synonyms to your data. I know there are few things which says that okay, you can hide unnecessary measures, but but this does not go for data Q&A questions. Data Q&A questions, since it gets answers directly from your model, and since your measures and tables and columns are actually there in the model, it would actually use that data to give you some information. This is more if you want to create a report, if you're asking Copilot to basically suggest some content for your report, or even if you're asking Copilot to summarize the report for you. And then lastly, there are a few links that I will paste in the chat. These are basically, some best practice documentations that we as Microsoft recommend that you should be using to optimize your Copilot performance. And with that, I will end the session and my presentation. So thank you. And now I'm open with more questions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Harleen. And an absolutely amazing session going into a bit more detail on Copilot for us there. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Pragati, I'm sure you did too.
Oh, yeah. I think Copilot is the hot topic, right? So, yeah, I'm sure everyone enjoyed this session.
Absolutely. And would you like to go into any questions from the audience for us, Pragati?
Yeah, I think we have got one question from Harry, and he's asking, can I use Copilot offline?
Sorry, no, as of now, you cannot use it offline, but there are some discussions if we can, because all the LLMs and, all the data, they need to be connected to the network to give you very accurate and, the correct answers. So as of now, it's not available offline, but we are still evaluating whether there is an opportunity where we can actually, have some options of offline or not. But currently, sorry.
Thank you, Harleen. I guess those were the questions we had today.
Yeah, definitely. We'll just give a couple of seconds in case a couple more do come through. I guess, Harleen, if I can, I'll ask a question. So in your experience so far, obviously working with Copilot, what's been, I don't know whether to ask your best use case or your most liked feature. So I'll leave that question up to you, which one you prefer to answer.
Okay, my most loved feature, I can say that. So my team and I, we were also behind, we were the ones who actually worked on bringing dark mode to Power BI desktop as well. So I would definitely say that that's my very passionate and the feature that I'm very, very connected with, because it has been requested by the community. Like it has been a top user request from last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And there were like maybe, I think, 10,000, user requests. And it was a very, very big feature. It took us around, 1 year and multiple teams, very big project. And then finally we released it in September in FabCon Europe. So that's definitely very close to me. And I'm so happy when I talk with customers who are using dark mode, and they appreciate and they just love that feature. So yeah, that apart from Copilot, I definitely love Copilot, and I'm also working on a very amazing Copilot feature which we would be releasing next year. I cannot say more about that, I'm sorry, but
Okay.
the feature that we have already released and that I worked on was dark mode.
Excellent. We are forever grateful to you and your team. And if you do speak to the SQL Server Management Studio department at all, you've achieved dark mode for Power BI Desktop in a record time in comparison to dark mode for SQL Server Management Studio. So, amazing. Okay. So it doesn't look like we have any more questions coming in for the time being. So we would love to have you back with us, Harleen, when you are able to share the exciting news coming up next year. So we would love to have you back.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'll reach out to you both, when it's safe to share the information, and then, UK user group can be one of the first few people to actually know about that feature too.
Oh,
Oh,
of course, of course. Feel free to reach out, Harleen, whenever you're comfortable. We'll be more than happy to host you.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was amazing, walking you all through the Copilot experiences and answering questions. And if there are any, specific questions that you have and you want to learn more about the Copilot capabilities and want me to share some documentations, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, and I will make sure to answer your questions there. And or you can also paste your comment here and try to answer your comments, after the session as well.
fantastic. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
once again for joining us, Harleen. And also, thank you very much to all of our participants, everybody joining us out there at the Microsoft UK user group. It's been an absolute pleasure. Exciting news coming up. We do have 2 more sessions in December that will start to be announced this week. So you will look forward to joining us again next week and the week after that as we round up the new year in style. Excellent. And hopefully, Pragati, we'll have you back with us as well next week and the week after.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, if the baby allows me. These days I have a very strong reason. If baby allows me, I'll appear. If not, no.
We'll
But
look
yeah,
forward.
definitely I'll try. I'll try to come.
Amazing. Thank you very much. And like I say, thank you everybody for joining us. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you've been here with us at the Microsoft Fabric UK user group. Stay safe.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks.